That boy who used to spend days in the garage with only his imagination and a couple hand tools has gotten lost in the grind of the real world. I think it's time we find him. Today's woodworking project is another great little scrapwood idea, and for $1. Yeah, $1. It's basic, it's quick, and it's easy. We're taking it from start to finish, the first cut to the spray-on tan. And just like the playoffs, it's the finish, the 2-minute warning that will separate the contenders from the pretenders. I'm going pine or generic fir, 2x4 scraps for me. I want 16 inches in total. I don't need it all in one length though. 2 8-inch scraps will be fine. I have another little take on this project that I'll throw in the end as well, so I'll grab another scrap or two for that one. A quick scan for nails, then out to the table saw. Now, I did this in last week's video, so I'll keep it quick. I'm ripping slats from a 2x4. If you don't have a table saw or the time, buy lath. If you built last week's build, you might have some left over. I'm not affiliated with HD, just giving you options, and honestly, it's cheaper than ripping a 2x4. I'll show you the math later. But for me, I set my feather board to 3/8 inch, slide the fence over, rinse and repeat. I'll rip 5 slats, then rip the last board as a double wide. The full cut list is in the description. If not, remind me. And no, that's not a cheap trick to get more comments. When I want comments, I ask great questions like, what was the first album you bought? And points if it was actually a cheap trick. Then I cut to the final length at the miter saw. I'm going 8 inches. You can go as long as you want. That's the beauty of this build. It's so practical you can use it anywhere and change the look and feel in an instant from modern to rustic, kitchen to bath. All I'm doing here is looking for the best face of each slat and how they might look together as a whole. I turned the last slat over so the knot is more on the right side. I think it'll balance nicely with a little detail I have planned for the slat above it, if that makes any sense at all. Then we hit up the sander, and believe it or not, there is a method to my madness. I sand the thick sides first, then quickly touch all the edges along the long side. If there's an issue with your slat, it's probably here you'll notice it. Occasionally splinters will peel away chasing the grain. And it's better to know now than before we get to the end. Then I sand the flats. When you rip the boards, the saw marks can be deep sometimes, and judging by mine, it's probably time for a new blade or at least to sharpen it. The top side would get a deep round over, similar to the 2x4 stock round over. And the bottom edges, they'll just get a hint of one. Then I hit up the ends, a quick round over on top, bottom, and a slight kiss on the sides. You can see it all here in the end. It gives a nice finished look, but not one that's too polished. Now, you can leave the slats as they are, call them done, but the inspiration for this piece had a heart on it. Well, actually through it. So we're going to try and cut a little heart out of one of these slats. And a heart is the easiest. I mean the easiest thing to cut out, far easier than a square, and honestly nearly as easy as drilling a hole. In fact, that's how we'll start it, by drilling 2 holes. After some trial and error, some practice, I found that 3/8 inch holes were the perfect size for this little heart cutout. I come in 2 inches from the left side, drop down 5/16 from the top, and just by eyeball lay out the first hole to drill. I use a 3/8 inch Forstner bit. Then I drill the next. So they're just kissing each other. Yeah, you didn't know I tricked you into making a Valentine's Day gift, did you? Now, I didn't center the heart across the slat. It's because I wanted it to be something you notice on the final piece, not something you're told to look at. Then it's just a matter of cutting down from the curve to the point. A nice little straight line, coping saw, jigsaw, or scroll saw. Then we sand. Take your time. Dowel and sandpaper for the curves, rustic and sandpaper for the straight edge. The heart doesn't have to be perfect as long as it's smooth. This is handmade. We want everyone to know it's handmade and not some prefab, mass-produced junk, but something with a little heart in it. Try to give the edges a touch of a round over. It actually hides any inconsistencies in our cutting, smoothing out the lines. I quickly cut the bases for this piece out of the double wide section we left from the beginning. Cut and sand just like the slats. You can just double up some lash strips for more height if you want as well. And since it's 40 degrees today, I think we can safely apply the finish. I think the reason I loved this piece when I saw it was the finish. It had a three-tone look to it. We're not going to duplicate it completely. I wasn't 100% fan of it, but I was for sure inspired by that tri-tone color palette. For 3 of the slats, we're going with a very light coat of stain. I have golden oak here, just going super light. Karate Kid style, wax on, wax off, just a hint of color. And then for the last slat without the heart, I'm just going with a pre-stain conditioner. It's really just shellac anyway, so it should just highlight the grain. Now, the one with the heart, I'm going to try and make a whitewash stain. Just watering down some cream acrylic paint. I do this all the time. A little paint, a little water, mix it, get the correct consistency, and brush it on. I want the white to be faint and distressed, and the grain just beginning to show through. Assembly was easy. Tight bond 3, 1/8 inch between the slats, some pin nails from the bottom to hold it as the glue dries. If you don't have a pin nailer, just clamp or weight it down. The glue's enough. And 3 coats of spray-on lacquer to let that finish shine through. And here we are. 16 inches of 2x4, 66 cents per build. If you go with glass, it was $15 for 50 4-foot sections. That's 30 cents per 4-foot. And you'll use 2 per project, just 60 cents. Call it a riser, a trivet, or trivet. They're all the rage. Pots, pans, plants. I made a little larger one here for the top of my loo. A much more pleasant way than saying toilet. I think that splash of color, a cascading wave, just adds so much. And that little lift off the tank makes my tissues feel cleaner already. What do you think? For a pot or plant, what colors would you have done? And what was the first album you bought? Mine was Styx Pieces of 8. As always, thank you for watching and choosing to spend 15 minutes building with me. Until the next time.